Upon entering the space, Zhao at once said, "Open the pasture." The tone chimed and the voice said, "Opening pastures requires you to be at level 10. You have reached the requirements. Are you sure you wish to open the pastures?" "Yes," Zhao immediately said. He waited for some sort of reaction from the space, but this time he was disappointed. Nothing happened inside the space before the voice said, "Pastures have been opened. Ranch has been established successfully." Zhao turned around and looked, but he found that nothing had changed. Not even a shadow of a ranch was there. Although he knew this would happen, he was still disappointed. With a thought, a white light enveloped his body, then he disappeared. The next thing he saw was a boundless amount of green grass. Just then, the voice came back. "Welcome to the Spatial Ranch. At the ranch's current level, you can raise up to 1,000 animals." Zhao froze. The ranch was just established and he could already keep 1,000 animals. This was too good, right? He looked around, but he couldn't find anything that looked like a house. He was just surrounded by a huge prairie. Zhao felt it was strange. When he played these sort of games before, there would at least be some simple walls and a nesting area. But how come there's nothing? He was worried about animal reproduction. In the game, there was a fixed area where the animals could make babies. If there was no place like that, then he was in big trouble. He wasn't a veterinarian. He didn't know how to help animals give birth. From this thought, Zhao tried saying, "Display area for animal reproduction." The moment he said this, an area less than 100 meters from him started to flash with twinkling green lights and a yellow perimeter surrounded it. When Zhao saw it, he couldn't help but feel relieved. As long as this area was here, he wouldn't have to worry about animal reproduction. But then Zhao discovered another problem. There was no feed mill like the ones in the game. How would he feed the animals? And he didn't see any water. What would the animals drink? He could see no way, so Zhao had to first ask, "What will the animals eat and drink?" The voice came and said, "The feed that the host adds will automatically be converted into grass for the animals' consumption. 1 kilometer away is a river for the animals to drink water." Zhao was shocked. It turned out that the feed would be turned into grass. In the game, most of the animals were herbivores, so this grass would solve the problem. But he was planning to put some creatures from the Ark continent into the ranch, and there would definitely be some carnivorous predators among them. Those carnivores wouldn't eat grass, right? Zhao quickly asked this question, but the voice said that there wasn't enough data to give him an answer. Not knowing what to do now, Zhao asked another question. What feed could be converted into grass? The voice said, "Found items in the barn that could be used as animal feed. Radish leaves, corn, wheat, and rice." Zhao paused, realizing that he would be able to use his crops. It seemed like if it could be used as feed, it could be converted into grass. Now he raised his staff and a white light was emitted, projecting a screen that had a page showing the shop, and below that was another page showing the rancher's shop. These pages were no different than the game. There were black and white pictures of animals, which represented the animals that he couldn't buy. As for the animals with colored pictures, he could definitely buy those. Right now the only ones he could buy were chickens and rabbits. Each chicken costs 80 gold coins. Each rabbit costs 120 gold coins. According to the game, these prices weren't expensive, but if you were to show them to anyone in the Ark continent, they would call you crazy. You should know that in the Ark continent, long-tailed chickens and blue-eyed rabbits were very cheap. Each long-tailed chicken only costs 1 silver coin. Each blue-eyed rabbit only costs 3 silver coins. Zhao immediately decided not to buy these animals from the spatial shop. It was too uneconomical. He only had a little over 200 gold coins left. If he were to buy from the space, he could only get a maximum of 2 rabbits or 3 chickens. But if he were to buy from the outside world, he could buy more than 2,000 long-tailed chickens or 800 or so blue-eyed rabbits. This would definitely fill up the ranch. Although he hadn't yet solved the problem about how to raise carnivorous predators, right now just establishing the ranch was fine. Zhao took a deep breath, and with a thought he exited the ranch and came outside. The place where Zhao came out was different. The last time, he came out into his room because that was where the teleport point was. But this time, he came out into the place where he had originally entered the space to bring in his undead and the plants that Green got for him. When he emerged, Zhao found Green and everyone else there. He was stunned. "Why are you all waiting for me?" Green obviously had a relieved expression on his face. "Master, you have been inside the space for over 4 hours." Zhao paused. He hadn't thought that he was inside the space for so long. Maybe it was because he had been sleeping, so he lost his sense of time. Zhao smiled, trying to reassure them. "There's no problem. In fact, something good happened. The space has leveled up. Let's all go into the space and you'll see what I'm saying." With a thought, several people entered the space. Everyone froze when they entered, not because of any other reason than catching sight of the villa. Zhao smiled when he saw their reactions. "I bought this house from the space for 1 gold coin. Now we can all live here." Having said that, he led everyone into the house, then told them to select their own bedroom. Blockhead and Rockhead chose the 2 rooms downstairs, while Green and Mirin chose their room upstairs, which Meg did as well. Once they had selected their rooms, Zhao said, "The space has a few new functions, but the one that we need the most is this." With a thought, they all came out of the space. But this time was a little weird because of where they found themselves. This didn't look like the manor, and it obviously wasn't Stony Mountain. Green looked around, while Meg said with uncertainty, "Master, isn't this your room in the castle on Iron Mountain?" Zhao laughed. "Yes, this is my room. We have returned to the castle." Everyone froze, then they rushed to the window. Opening it, they looked outside and found that they really were back in the Iron Mountain castle. They all looked at Zhao in shock, who chuckled. "The space has a new capability that allows us to instantly transfer between 2 points. I have 2 teleport points, one of them is here in the castle, while the other is in the manor. Now we can move between the 2 locations at any time." Everyone still had a shocked look on their faces. They didn't think that it would be something this amazing. A journey that took them around 2 weeks could now be traveled in a moment. Zhao continued to tell them about the changes that happened when the space leveled up. While doing so, he led everyone to the castle square, where they entered the space again. Zhao chose to enter the space from the square because, in the future, when he returned all the slaves back to the castle, he didn't want them to come out into his room. Once everyone went back into the space, Zhao took them to the ranch to have a look around. When he told them they would be able to raise a lot of spirit beasts here, they were all happy. If they could raise spirit beasts, it would become another source of income. Once Zhao finished explaining the new features, they all left the space, but not before Zhao took out 100 gold coins and gave them to Green. "Tomorrow, Green will go to Casa City and buy 300 blue-eyed rabbits.